Three, two, one, and action.
Hello, everyone. You guys are listening to the Goodfolks podcast. I just want to remind you that this podcast is available on YouTube in audio-visual format, but also for people who want to listen to this podcast in audio format in the background while multitasking on their phone. You guys can find our podcast available on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, Public Radio. And so there are a bunch of different apps that you guys can download on your phone and listen to our podcast while doing something else. Let's say, for example, you're browsing news on Facebook or chatting with your friends or editing some good picture of yourself on Instagram. You know, you can do all those things while listening to our podcast. It's more fun. So I wanted to welcome with me Amel Drouiche. She's an influencer. She's also an activist, she's a traveler, and she's a journalist in Al Bilad, Journal Al Bilad, Bilad TV. And she does a bunch of different things on Instagram, trying to influence people to have a positive life and also influence them to kind of hunt opportunities that are available online that she thinks that not many people know about them or have the motivation to go after them. So welcome, Amel, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you so much, Wahib, and hello to everyone, whoever is listening or watching this podcast. Thank you for the invitation again, and I'm happy to be with you in the Goodfolks.
So I did like such a long description of yourself, but I think that you can describe yourself much better than me.
Surprisingly, you didn't mention the one thing probably everyone knows about, which is I'm a doctor, so I have a medical background, and I'm freshly graduated from the Faculty of Algiers. So we can say that I do some of the stuffs you just mentioned.
Okay, Dr. Amel.
Yeah.
Is it like a bachelor degree or master degree?
It depends on the
branch.
Yeah, the branch in Algeria it's doctor, so it's the equivalent of the PhD.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
I'm actually not familiar with how like students study in the medical university.
It's different from the
LMD.
other system. Yeah, the LMD.
So they don't have bachelor and then masters and then PhD.
No, once we start the med school, we are preparing for our for being a doctor in medical science. Yeah.
All right. So you studied in the medical field, and a lot of people, when they see students studying in the University of Algiers medicine, they automatically think that this is a person who's going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
But for now, you're actually a journalist.
I'd rather call myself a TV host, because to be a journalist you need to have an academic background in journalism. But yeah, I'm doing something probably different than my academic background. And yes, I'm trying right now to somehow merge the two fields, you know, the medical field and journalism or TV hosting, by creating medical shows concepts. Just like the one I did recently with Al Bilad TV. It was called Zihatok, and so yeah, I'm trying to combine the two fields together to create some interesting content, and which gonna help the Algerian society, which gonna help people to get more interested in their health, in their habits also. So yeah.
Yeah. Did you have the expectation before that when you were studying, or when you were graduating, that maybe someday you're gonna be on TV?
Not expectations, but it was, it was someday. It was a dream somehow, and I didn't know whether I'm gonna work for it, or achieve that. It wasn't from the top of my priorities, but things things worked out so that I get to be on TV first as a columnist in the morning show of El Bilad, in which I learned a lot, and I had a little experience with them, and then to create the concept of my medical show. So it wasn't planned to go so, but when I was studying medicine, I was working in parallel. Yeah, so I was working in other fields than the medical field. So I had the idea that if I ever don't get the chance right away to start working as a doctor, which I did, by the way, and it was for a short time, but then I stopped to do the TV hosting. So I have always told myself that if I ever don't work as a doctor, it's not the end of the world. I can still do a lot of stuff outside that field. So, yeah.
Look, I'm not sure if that happened to you before, but for example, the first time I started interviewing people, your show was about hosting people. So you had professors, you had experts, you had people probably with a lot of background. And you're a fresh graduate and you're young. And then there is like some type of pressure and stress if you're going to perform good, and you feel like they're all eyes judging you and they're looking for you. And then
the camera is judging you.
Exactly. And there were, I mean, when we started, like the first interview that I did in 2017 with an American rapper, and it was online, believe me or not, I mean, I totally lost my English.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how to speak.
That's true. Yeah, it can happen. Actually, the first experience was I was a columnist. I wasn't the main TV host, so it was less stressful. I had already got used to the hosting thing, and it was a spontaneous show. The morning show at Al-Bilad, it's called 100 minutes, 100 دقيقة, and it was spontaneous, sociable. So even though we had like professors and officers, considering we had to discuss different topics, so we had different guests, you know, from different fields. Even though we had to deal with those people, I was always like the doctor, the young doctor, you know, and I had to.
Were you the youngest?
I suppose, yeah.
Oh
Even
God.
though the TV host wasn't as old as you can imagine, he was a bit young as well, but he had a lot of experience.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it was a bit difficult at first, especially the first time, and then I got used to it. Confidence is a very important key. I was mainly discussing topics in which it was my comfort zone, so such as medical topics, civic society, NGOs, careers, opportunities, etc., which was my comfort zone, in which I had communication as well, education, in which I had worked for years before that. So, and whenever there is a new topic suggested by the administration or the team, I had to work on it. I had to prepare it before the show, to be comfortable, to have
to be ready.
To be ready. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're prepared, I think that there is less pressure when you're prepared. But when you have no idea what the hell you're going to talk about, then there is like a lot of pressure.
Like now. Something like now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the theme of the show. We have spontaneous conversation. We didn't tell Amel anything about what this conversation
and I
will
didn't
be.
ask.
Yeah, and you also didn't ask, which makes it more fun, to be honest. At least for me, that's how I like it. So, Amel, did you hear about the recent story of Shaima and?
Yes.
Have you been following?
I did, and it
the
was
incident?
probably people who are following me on Instagram. They know that it has been overwhelming week for me, and Shaima's story, Allah yarhamha, it was a big part of it, you know, because it's just because it's a feminicide the brutalism, the story itself.
Was brutal, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Shema is a victim of her family and her society before being the victim of the homicide.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I strongly think that we need to do something regarding laws in our country. To try to things gotta change.
You mean when it comes to punishment against rape or kidnapping?
Yeah, not just the punishment, but also we need to start from the main reason, education, and
Yeah.
I think that it should start in the family, because Shema, for example, I don't know, when I heard some of her mother's interviews, she was saying that her daughter wasn't home until 3 a.m. That's when she knew that she didn't get back home, and she was okay with it, which is not okay for a 19 years old who already has issues with this person I suppose, I think you know that there have been some news about her case 4 years ago with the same person.
Is it 3 years ago or 4 years ago? 2016 or 17?
I think she was 15, so it was 4 years ago.
So some people say that he sexually assaulted her and then he had to spend like 6 months in prison. Others say that they were in a relationship and then something happened between them. And
yeah, and all of this can be true or cannot, but the idea is that having a predator, you know that he's coming for your daughter, and yet you let her go, and it's okay for you if she doesn't come back home by 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. She's only 19. God only knows what she has been through during all these years, and we need to accentuate the role of the family, of mothers and parents in general. So before looking for punishment, and which is very important too, we need to change how we see punishment. I don't know, 6 months in prison for harassment or sexual assault. We see now that it's not enough to change his behavior. So I was really having nieces in Sheima's age, so I was overwhelmed. I had to think a lot of things, considering my relationship with my nieces, whether there's something missing, whether they need to be more, aware of what's happening. A lot of stuff we need to discuss right now.
yeah, you see, you're a doctor, and I remember that every time I'm sick, when I go to the doctor, and then, for example, I got stomach ache or I have a headache or something, and then the doctor gives me medicine, I always ask the doctor, what do you think is the reason? Like, why did this happen to me? Like, for example, colon. Why? Is it because something I'm drinking or something I'm eating? So,
Exactly.
So just let me know about what exactly I can do in order to avoid this situation in the future. So probably that's exactly what we need to do with also this sickness in society. Instead of thinking only about punishment, let's also think about the reasons why these things happen.
Exactly.
Let's think about education. Let's think about, like the role that parents have to do inside the family, because a lot of people are ignoring that, I mean, that's something that I noticed. I'm not sure if it's true. I'm not a psychologist, but I feel that a lot of people, like especially girls, when they don't find love in their family, like in their parents, especially when their parents are divorced, there is a lot of hatred and a lot of anger and yelling all the time in the house. They try to go find it somewhere else, and usually it's outside, and then when she has poor judgment and she ends up with the wrong guys, then such things might happen.
Usually it's the wrong people.
Yeah.
Whether they are guys or girls, friends.
Like girlfriends too. Yeah, that's
of course.
true.
You brought up a very important thing, which is we look for the treatment of the symptoms, le traitement symptomatique by looking for punishment, by trying to have, you know, in a very impulsive way, getting all emotional, like what was happening last week after Sheima's case, and we forget the reason, the reasons, because there are many, the reasons that led to things like that, to such behaviors, whether from the girl who had to go out, who had a lot of responsibilities, only being 19, and for the boy also who committed this crime. I think we do need to, and what you were saying about the love of the family, and not just the love of the family, but also that satisfaction we have, the confidence we have, that's given from our parents, from our brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Do we feel comfortable in our family or not?
Of course, the confidence that I remember that my sister and my mother always used to say that, yeah, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're brilliant, and it wasn't just for just because I'm their daughter, but it was also to give me those compliments, that self-satisfaction I need, not just to compliment me, but to fulfill that need of satisfaction. So I wouldn't look for it outside of my family, outside of the people who love me and protect me. Just in case if I ever find myself with someone who's gonna hurt me, or whether it's a boy or a girl, like we said. So I think it's very important, the role that family should play.
Yeah, it's also like when people talk about the predator,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they think about punishment, which is actually needed and it should happen.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we also don't want to have predators in our society, even if they
Exactly.
didn't punish anyone. So why is that guy behaving that way? You know, probably, I think that a lot of people would get angry at this, but this is true. I
Mhm.
mean, probably he's also a victim of something else.
Absolutely, I don't think a normal person
Exactly.
would commit this crime, you know, with this grunge and everything. But we need to look probably in the history of this person and see what was the many crimes he did before, for which he didn't get the right punishment, you
Yeah.
know. That's why I said it starts with the family, because everyone, and I'm saying this consciously. So everyone can be a predator. Everyone can commit crimes, but it starts with some small things. But the human brain has 70% of inhibition functions. So it always says, no, you shouldn't do this. No, this is not right. No, this is a crime. You shouldn't commit this. You can't commit this. So that's when a normal person don't do that. But when a person starts doing small things and his functions are not actually functioning well, and he doesn't have the right punishment. Like I said, it starts with the family. It starts at school. It starts the environment he probably grew up in. So once he doesn't have the right punishment for those little, I won't say crimes, but probably bad behaviors. It somehow, you know, there's a concept in medical field. On fait toujours remonter le palier. Donc, si le palier de traitement ne suffit pas, on doit toujours doubler la dose. That's what happens actually when someone does something bad, and everyone acts like it's normal. So he looks to do something even worse. And I think being not having the right punishment, like I said, in 2016 for the sexual assault and harassment had led to make him think of something even bigger, something brutal, like the crime he did.
Yeah, but it's also, like if he, this has to do with the environment. You said the environment. So
Yeah.
the environment, so there is education, there are parents, there is like childhood, but there is also the environment. The environment, like the people you're hanging out with,
Of course.
your friends, the guys that he was hanging out with. And there are certain guys in Algeria who probably would think, who probably wouldn't get affected much by cases like these. Instead, they would think that he's like Rajal or something, and he's like, like a thug and like a badass, and like, so they don't feel bad about such things. They actually feel good about themselves. It gives them feeling of control and self-esteem. And so once you have an environment like that, that's like a sick environment that you're supposed to fix, because it will keep producing people like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe okay, so this case is going to pass, but we got generation of children that they're growing up in this environment. They're probably gonna have similar things in like 4, 5, 10 years from now. So it's not always about only punishment. It's also about looking for like the sources. But that's the hard work that people don't want to do. People want to be lazy. They just want to blame. Just
like we
punish.
said before, just before starting to record the podcast, we said that the human brain looks for easy
solutions.
Easy solutions. Yeah. So instead of trying to look for the solutions for the source of the problem, it rather look for excuses. So that's why we look for, no, if he probably had a bad environment, and then we look for the environment. What made that environment bad? So we find people like the ones you just mentioned. And while you were mentioning that, I was just thinking of one word, like sick. This is a sick environment. I think people who think like that, it's something. I'm sure there's some sickness somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think we need to first deal with that, and then look for it. Maybe punishments are indeed a way to deal with this kind of behavior, but we also need to think of a radical solution.
Yeah, but that's also not because some people act as if that's the cause. They say that because we don't have death penalty, this is why these things happen. It's like, no. They think that, if we have death penalty, everyone's going to be afraid and they wouldn't do those things. But I don't think that's the case. I think that a lot of criminals who did bad things, they're aware that they might get killed while doing, let's say, for example, fights in the streets with swords and things. They know that there is a possibility of getting killed, but they don't care because they're angry, because they're under drugs. So when you tell them that once we apply the death penalty, all these things are going to be fixed, like, no, people are murdered and getting murdered while being high, when all drunk. While they're high or drunk, they won't care about the consequence.
Exactly.
People who drive so bad, even like there is like some feeling of excitement they feel. I don't know if that's called the dopamine, I guess. Yeah, there is like a dopamine that gets released in their minds while they are doing dangerous things. So they enjoy it and they don't think about the consequence. But once they're in stable mood, they're like, oh my God, like what the hell did I do?
Exactly, yeah. Like I said, a normal person wouldn't commit this kind of crimes. But once they are in some circumstances, they are not aware of what they are doing.
Yeah.
So that's why how can you talk to the consciously to this person while his acts are generated by his subconscious? So
yeah, true. It's pointless.
Of course, yeah. We actually need to deal with the subconscious. That's when we can have actually a real change, a better behavior from these people.
Yeah, right. So before starting the podcast, you were talking about like youth opportunities and how you think that a lot of young people don't know how to go for those opportunities that are available, but they don't know about them. You also talked about like, for example, job interviews and CVs. They don't know how to do their CV.
Yeah.
So in Instagram, you upload a bunch of different things. You do stories talking about those things. So what do you think are the problems that exist when it comes to this point?
I think some of our youth are lost right now because there are a lot of information, entrepreneurship, going abroad, studying, working while studying. That's what makes them a bit lost while actually looking for their career, for the right path. I have always worked when I was while studying medicine, and the main field in which I had worked was communication. That's why probably there's the Japanese concept called ikigai. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I didn't.
Yeah, this concept actually, I did it in 2018, and it actually worked out well for me. Back then, I was still in med school, and it was during one of the camps we organized, Algerian Youth Camp with Jeunesse Excellence, and we had a theme which was careers, and the coach back then, when we did this workshop, I did it myself, even though I was an organizer. I did it myself for me, and it turned out that the best field made for me was communication. And back then, I was like,
really? Is that like it's like a training, a workshop you do so that you can figure out which field you're...
Exactly. It's a training or a workshop in which it's based on 4 circles. The first one would be all the things you love, all the things you're passionate about. The second one would be the things you know how to do, the fields in which you have skills, you do them very well. The third one would be the need, what's the need in your society or your environment that you're gonna fulfill doing this job or this career, choosing this career. And the fourth circle is the how much money you wanna make doing this job. So you put the 4 circles and you fill them with whatever comes up in your mind, and then you look for the things they have in common. So you need to find a field or a career in which the 4 circles are
they intersect.
Yeah, you have the 4 circles together, and that's when I had communication and marketing, and I wasn't saddened or something. I was actually happy. And
do you still? Sorry for interrupting, but do you still remember how the workshop is done?
Yeah, of course, I can do it for.
We'll need you. We want to organize something like that.
Of course, and it was actually surprising for a lot of people there. It was a moment where I found the answer of many questions I had. Whether I'm doing, did I choose the right field? Am I doing really what I love in medical field? Will I fulfill the need of the society I live in, etc. And then I wasn't saddened. I was happy to have the answers, and I started looking for a way to actually merge the field I studied, the academic background I have, with something that had to do with communication. It was on hold. So once I finished my the 7th year of medical school, I got my diploma. I had the opportunity to be in TV, to be on TV. And when it started, like I said, I was a columnist back then, and I was mainly talking about medical stuff, and that's where it came up. It popped up like, I should do this. I should do medical information, medical TV. So yeah, people need to know more about their health. People need to get interested in their in health, in the medical field. They need to have the right information from the right sources. So that's when I thought of a concept, and I wanted to create the concept of Sehatuk. It was with Al Bilad, with the TV producer Hafid, which I am very thankful for this man. I'm thankful for that I met him. He was very excited for the idea, especially that it was with the COVID pandemic, you know. So it was a great outcome for the channel as well. So that's and when I started to prepare the TV show, I started inviting professors, doctors. I invited my professors, the one who I had as
Teacher at university?
as teachers at
Wow, that's
university,
amazing.
and that was very
You must be proud.
yeah, very, and it was very satisfying. You know, I was very happy having them as guests. They were happy as well, especially because they know how important it is to have a good and healthy doctor-patient relationship. So which is something very important to them as well. So that's the main thing we were working about via that TV show.
Yeah, so what are some of the, like, what kind of advice you would give people like that who are lost? Is it like to do workshops like that, or to spend more time thinking exactly about what they want to do?
I wouldn't recommend spending time thinking. I prefer,
Because it would take forever?
yeah, it would take forever. Yes, I'd rather. I prefer for them to have to get involved in civic society, in NGOs. Maybe they will discover what they really
Themselves,
want. Yeah, maybe having to do these kinds of workshop, the ones that can help you find a good or the right
Find yourself.
career path. Yeah, find yourself, and but mostly, or maybe you can find yourself. You can discover that this is what you want to do. This is you probably the thing you want to do. You really want to do is helping people finding themselves, and you know, probably they would end up in the training field. So which is very important. It happened to me as well, and helping people finding what they love, helping them working on their skills. It ended up very satisfying for me. So
Yeah, there is this concept called serendipity, where it's actually philosophical and it's also psychological. They say that, for example, there is a person who has a goal, you know, while working hard towards that goal, while on the road, they discovered that that goal probably isn't that good for them. They don't really
Exactly,
like it.
yeah.
And so they changed direction to go another goal. But they could only find that once they started walking on the road. If they were just stuck and just looking at the goal.
they would never know.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes we have those ideas implemented in us since we are children, that this is what's good as a job. But probably when you get to that job, you feel like that's not really what you want to do.
Yeah,
you know, you want to
of
do
course.
something else. So probably I think the experience in NGOs, associations, volunteering organizations will help you get to know more about yourself.
Very, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. And knowing other people, meeting other people from different fields, seeing their you know, the journey that they have made or fulfilled, knowing about their choices, their careers, etc., can be very inspiring for you to find your own, you know. Let alone the idea that we need. It's very important to have a large network of people, because opportunities cannot come with people you hang out with every day. You are looking for the same opportunity, so you can't wait for the opportunity to come from your best friend that you see every day.
Yeah.
So it's usually from someone that you have nothing in common with, from someone very different than you. So that's where you actually can find a opportunities.
Yeah, but I think that there is also a crisis of confidence. Like a lot of people don't have the confidence to pursue their goals and trust themselves in that road. And I think that especially in an environment like Algeria where everyone is complaining, everyone is looked at as a failure, and people say that you're gonna fail regardless of how hard you work, because this country is a failure and wherever, all these negative ideas. So people don't have the confidence like to, for example, they could, for example, open a business. They already have some money. They could invest in something. They wouldn't go that road. They would rather just have a stable job, you know.
True,
probably
yeah.
like they don't have the courage like to pursue their dreams. It needs some bravery, I guess. It needs you to be somehow brave in order to. I remember when I was in the World Youth Forum. I don't know if you know
Yeah,
about
of
it, in
course.
Egypt.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know.
So I was in a section that was concerned. It was about entrepreneurship. So most people there were entrepreneurs, and they brought a speaker who's actually a very famous Egyptian entrepreneur who has 3 or 5 companies, and he when he finished the presentation, he was receiving questions, and there was this girl, I think from Nigeria, who asked him. She said that so this is what I have in Nigeria. This is what I do. So this is what I do. Can you tell me what should I do now? What goal should I have, or something like that. It was like very general and broad question. And so his answer was he said, I think that it will be disrespect for you if I tell you what to do. He said, because if I tell you, then I would be just like a imam who tell you this is how you go to Jannah. Even no, there are many, many, many ways, and you should find your way, right? You should trust yourself and
Of
find
course,
your way.
yeah.
And I think that a lot of young people in Algeria, they're like
Just
that.
because it worked out for me, it doesn't mean that it will certainly work out for you.
Yeah, and just because it didn't work for me, it doesn't mean that it will
Yeah, of course.
work for you.
Vice versa.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is a big question here, because
I said I'm getting deeper.
yeah, wherever you're gonna go, there are gonna be obstacles, some failures, etc. But being in Algeria, probably it's double. But still, I think failure is very important in your path. You need to fail, to struggle a little, to have to go through some pain, some depression, etc.
But you need to have the courage to handle it. Some people cannot handle pain. It totally breaks them.
Yeah, you would never know how courageous you are, how brave you are, until you are actually in that struggle.
Sure.
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't imagine that you can go through all that pain until you actually feel that pain. So no one knows actually. No one knows their own boundaries, let alone knowing someone else's boundaries. I think failure is very important. It used to be my biggest fear, because I always, when I'm committed to something, I'm committed to 1000%. I give all that I can to achieve what I want. And once I started to deal with the real world, I found out that there might be some failures at first, but then once you succeed to get through that phase, you get used to I can fail in something, but it shouldn't stop me from pursuing what I want, what I really want. So I have been through some failures in my life. It's logical, it's normal, and it should actually motivate you to seek other goals, or probably work on the same one differently. Probably it's the way you have been working on it. Probably it's people with whom you have been working on that goal. So it's normal. That's what I want to say for people, especially young people who are 20, 22, 24. they are still young. They other people their age aren't even graduated yet. So it's okay to fail at first and then continue. That's the real success. Is actually continuing to achieve your goals and probably even bigger goals.
Do you usually get messages from your followers like asking you about help in something or advice in a certain thing?
A lot, actually. Yeah, and
You probably look like a role model for them.
yeah, I also get those kind of messages, and it's actually frightening, because it's a big responsibility. When I see on the insights of my Instagram account, and I see the age ratio I have, a lot of my followers are aged between 18 and 25. So yes, they are actually the people with whom I want to work. They are people we should invest in. I have always said that one of the power sources of Algeria is the youth, in which we should invest, in which we should, with whom we should work and help. It's a big responsibility actually, and I'm trying to do my best for them. Now with the COVID pandemic, it's a bit difficult, but I'm working on other projects with the NGOs I'm involved, like Jeunesse Excellence, that organizes Algerian Youth Camp, which is the training camps we do with different teams, etc. And with their innovates as well. I wanna help people to. Probably I want to give them the help I got, because this field, the NGOs, the civic society helped me a lot, and I got a lot of opportunities thanks to this activity, and I want them to get involved as well. Probably after this pandemic, things are gonna be easier. We will be able to do stuff we used to do before. So I'm really I'm hopeful.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I remember that you shared also the application that we had recently about the program, the youth talks that we're going to start soon.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that you shared it in your story, telling them like this is a good opportunity also.
Yeah.
So it's amazing, like when you're browsing the feed and looking for like just sharing different opportunities that you find with your followers, just also to let them know that there are opportunities out there.
Of course, yeah,
there are many.
Of course.
So my last question is that since you're a doctor and also you have been now working in a media outlet for how long now?
Almost a year.
All right.
Yeah.
So a year I think is enough for you to already have an opinion about media. You have opinions about the things that they're doing wrong or the things that they're doing right. In the last story of Shema, one of the things that bothered a lot of people is that when there were many videos posted by different media outlets with sad music in the background, and also the replay. It's all right if you don't want to answer this question.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, but what do you think about that? Because it sounded to a lot of people it's like investing in other people's sadness.
That's true. That's exactly the word.
You just record her mother, put it on, and that's it.
Yeah.
Why do you put sad music in the background? Why do you, like the filmmaking effects, you put them there?
Honestly, I would say that it's a very, it's a technical mistake. Technically, we shouldn't do something like that, let alone the professional side, the moral side. I don't think. I think Shema's story got a lot of echoes because of social media, because of some of the media that invested in her story, in her sadness, and in her mother's sadness, and I think somehow we find people who do this find themselves in being unprofessional. That's it. That's the word. And yes.
So it's not like they are doing it on purpose. It's just that they don't know.
Exactly.
It's a mistake, and then maybe they will fix it in the future.
Yeah, the problem is when you're doing something wrong, you don't see it. You think you're doing it.
You think it's okay. Yeah.
You think it's okay. You think it's the normal way, and being an outsider, that's what you see. That's something isn't normal. Something.
Yeah, that's
isn't-
also. I
isn't
think that's
okay.
why a lot of media needs to listen to feedback from people, not from all of them,
course.
because some people may
Mhm.
make stupid comments, regardless of how good the content is.
Yeah.
But I think it's good, like, to have to listen to people's feedback, just so that you can improve.
Absolutely. And speaking about feedbacks, some feedbacks can make you actually do mediocre content just to satisfy these feedbacks. And this is, I think, this is the dilemma that we are having in the media field. You know, because a lot of people are arguing about the bad content and are saying that are making dislikes, but they are also interested by this bad content.
Exactly. when you produce good content, they don't show up. They're not
Exactly.
interested at all.
Bad content is getting more views, more people are talking more about it, and I think somehow for some media channels or some of the people in the media business, it's good for them. It's actually it works best for them if it's that way. In the other hand, I think there's an Arabic
Term?
yeah, but I don't know how to say it in Arabic, so I'll just try to get the meaning of it. I think when there's a lot of bad content, fighting this would be by creating actually good content and creating creating it in a big quantities, so that the bad content doesn't get as much echo as it wants. So I think the phrase, actually the sentence is for the Prophet Ali, أميت الباطل بالسكوت عليه, and that's what I think that's what we should do, even if for the case
You mean
of
Ali ibn Abi Talib?
yeah.
Okay.
So
When you said the Prophet Ali, I was like,
oh, I said the Prophet. I'm sorry.
Prophet's
Yeah.
companion.
No, campaign. No. So Imam Ali. But so I think what Imam Ali says by أميت الباطل بالسكوت عليه, it means that we shouldn't focus on the bad content that's raising.
That's how it should be on for social media.
Yeah.
I mean, when you make a comment or you make I don't know, like an angry reaction, it's
Yeah.
actually kind of support, even if it's
Exactly.
but you're supporting, because it will
Exactly, yeah.
appear to more people.
Yeah.
And I wish more people know about this.
It was the same thing with the comments that were justifying the violence and justifying the crime against Shayma. I was like, don't even argue with these people. That's you are nourishing them. You are nourishing the debate. We shouldn't have even arguments with these people and these comments. We should just ignore them. I think ignorance, ignoring people, ignoring some of the comments, of the behaviors, of the content is very important. It's a very powerful tool that we are not aware of. So I think we should ignore bad content, even though it's still people are still producing it for their reasons, and we should also focus on working on good content and producing a lot more of good content, so that we have whenever you're scrolling on Facebook, that's what you're gonna find. If there are thousands of Wahib working on podcasts on good content, that's what you end up have on your Facebook feed, on your Instagram feed. But if we keep talking about the bad content, if we keep focusing on the bad content, that's what we're gonna find.
Yeah, that's an enlightening perspective. Amel, it's been so much nice, talking to you, conversing with you. So guys, check Amel Drouiche Instagram. She does amazing job, And do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone who watched and listened to this podcast. I want to say that better environment is the good environment actually is the result of what we do, whether it's personal, so it's by creating opportunities, chasing opportunities, or the family environment or the work environment is by actually focusing on the causes or the reasons we were talking about for the real issues, and not the consequences or just the results, or like we said about looking for reasons to put the blame on instead of working on the causes, on the main reasons. So that's it, and I really hope people have enjoyed the podcast, and
hopefully we'll see you in another episode.
Yeah, hopefully I'll see them on another TV show probably very soon.
All right.
Yeah, that was an exclusive news for the good folks.
Okay, that's it for today, guys. Again, you guys who will be watching this episode on YouTube, you also can check it on the other podcast platforms like Spotify. Download the app and enjoy listening. Take care of yourself and have a good day. Bye-bye.